Good morning, everyone, and it's time for another edition of Today's Talkers. We're going to let some people jump in here on our Facebook Live. We're happy to have you all joining us.
I'm going to pull up the Facebook Live.
Yeah, we want to make sure we can kind of keep updated with our folks who are online watching and tuning in because, of course, we like to hear from you during these Facebook Lives. And we just come on here sort of talk about some fun things, some water cooler type stories, things you might be able to chat with your coworkers with your family with.
Yeah.
So,
or message on Slack if you're working from home. We know a lot of folks are kind of working remotely. Slack, one of those platforms that folks kind of speak to their coworkers on. This is a Slack topic, if you would.
Yeah. And the first one, of course, as we get closer and closer to Valentine's Day, that's our first topic. Some businesses are going to offer some interesting date ideas, and one of those is Lowe's. They're going to offer a home improvement style Valentine's date. You probably don't think of them as a date opportunity, but Lowe's does hope to change that with what they're calling a night of Lomance. Couples are going to be able to enter. You can win a Valentine's Day evening of painting at one of 10 select stores in some of what they're calling America's most romantic cities.
I like this.
When I think Lomance, I think that they're going to say like lo mein.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be lo mein to eat at the Lomance.
It's cute. It's for painting, or you can choose a virtual cooking class. I think it's kind of a fun idea.
I feel like a lot of couples either want to do some renovating of their house or, have a different activity. So I thought, assuming you would just go into Lowe's and be like, oh, okay, like let's work on the bathroom. Let's pick out, things for the bathroom. So
I think it's a good idea too, because
this is different.
home maintenance can be a big issue between couples.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like squash some issues maybe before you're so serious.
Yeah. I like this date idea too, because it's something that it could be a project for you and your partner to do together. With the painting, it's something maybe you could hang up in the house afterwards and have a pretty cool story around it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's a neat idea. But speaking of other ideas and whatnot too, what would everybody's perfect Valentine's date idea be? Or maybe you guys have already had that perfect Valentine's Day date.
I have
That's a tough one.
So actually, I got this. I think it's called it's an adventure challenge, and they have the couples edition. I got this for my fiance, and it's the gift that keeps on giving, because it's literally a book, and there's a bunch of scratch off, and each scratch off is a date. So it kind of gives you the bare necessity. It says you need 1 to 3 hours. It tells you if you're going to get messy. It tells you if you need snacks, what time of day you should do it. And then based on those parameters, it tells you if you need a babysitter. Based on those parameters, you commit to it, and then you scratch it off. You don't find out what it is until then.
Oh, that's fun. That's a great idea.
That's been the gift that's been kept on giving for the past year. There's about 52 dates in there.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Really
we loved
cool.
it. And there's you get a Polaroid camera with it, so you can take a picture and you put it, and it becomes like a scrapbook where you can look and you write your little reflections on what the date was. So
That is such a fun idea.
it's a lot of fun. I do know one does include paint, so Lowe's is onto something with their couples paint setup, because they do have one of those in the book too.
That is so
like the
fun.
whole paint and sip thing. That's a new trend. People love that.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I think it's not going to be something that I do this year, because with the pandemic, I haven't been, out besides takeout, with restaurants. But I love to sit in a restaurant, just a quiet, dimly lit, candles on, nice music playing, and have a really a fancy dinner. I don't know if that used to be my perfect date night or Valentine's Day, but I feel like I'm missing that so much.
I think everybody's
this year I'm
missing
that would be
I think,
awesome.
yeah, everyone is just missing going out to eat, just a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody has any ideas, or you guys have any good stories.
What about candy?
out there?
Like, what's your favorite Valentine's Day candies?
I will tell you my
Let's
Valentine's
talk about
Day.
that.
I'll tell you my Valentine's Day tradition. Usually it's with me and my cat Tilly, and my mom will send me a box of chocolate, the heart chocolate.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I mash every single one of them until I find the ones I want. Or I take half and I put it back, eat another half, put it back.
Yeah.
Really fun stuff like that.
As a kid, my dad would always give my sister and I the heart-shaped candies with the little words on them. And it was he was our first Valentine, our forever Valentine, a dad and a daughter. So I've always loved those little candies. They've been my staple favorite. But listen to this. So I'm going to tell this little story.
Yeah.
My sister and her husband, their first date was on Valentine's Day. They had met a week or two prior, and it just kind of worked out. They actually both didn't realize it was Valentine's Day on their first date until they were out at a pizza shop. They just got pizza and some drinks, and they realized around them Valentine's Day was everywhere. I guess he must have realized at the very beginning, because he stopped off at a store really quickly and bought a small box of chocolates
Nice.
and quietly put it in his glove compartment and told her later, I had it in there. He did give it to her at the end of the night, but he said if he wasn't interested in her, he would have just taken it home and had it himself.
I love it.
But they worked out. They're married now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I like that. I'm going to call that the glove compartment method.
Yes,
I'm gonna
right?
wait till
Either
after
way,
the date.
It's either for her or for the person you're going
I
for
love it.
or for yourself if it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, you don't want to be out of those chocolates, right?
That is so funny.
Shout out to Joanne. Joanne says, I always got flowers and a dinner date, and he fixed breakfast for the family.
Aw,
Oh, there
Yes.
you go.
so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love
she's
that.
Yeah, my parents always gave my sister and I just like little heart-shaped
Yeah.
boxes of candy, something, either like something gummy or chocolate,
It's always
whatever we
incredible
were in the mood for that year.
what people spend on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the amount of
Yeah.
money that we hear the numbers after the fact and it's like in the billions across the
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, flowers can be expensive.
Yeah.
I received some flowers and, they're not cheap.
No, they're not.
Well, we hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day too with you
Yes.
and your sweethearts.
Yeah, and stay safe out there as well. Over to the next topic. We did a story this morning about a new tiny home community launching in Travelers Rest. It's a super eco-friendly home, and they actually look great, as you can see here. But the main question is, could you live in a tiny home? That's what, I mean, there's one thing to stay in a tiny home, but could you live in one?
No.
Okay, Margaret says no.
I say no right now. I've got 2 young kids. I've got a dog. My husband likes his space.
Yeah.
Right now, no. But I think it would be great at maybe a later point in my life when my kids are out of the house and, it's a little easier.
I was going to say, it depends on the season of life, because as my fiance and I are starting to upscale, we have a lot of people in our neighborhood are downscaling, and they're looking for a smaller home because, the kids have left, and it's just them. They don't want a big place
Yeah,
to
the
clean.
maintenance.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a tiny home just because, the bigger the house, the more you have to clean.
I'll say this,
So
if I did a tiny home, I'd do one like we did the story on because they're fully encompassed, like you are off the grid. They have like their
Really cool.
own water supply. They have their own filtration systems.
Yeah.
They've got their own electricity building. It's all eco-friendly.
And
Yeah.
if I had a
Yeah.
tiny home, I would have like my main house and then just like maybe like little beach house or cottage, something like that. I don't know if I could live in it year round either.
let's see what some of Facebook say. We're not getting too many comments on the tiny home. Maybe
Yeah, you
folks
guys-
are wanting to stay in one first, but let us know if you'd be willing to live in a tiny home. Not just
All right.
stay.
Margaret,
They
just
are
straight up
really
said
neat
no.
with all the technology.
It was a straightforward no. I could never, no.
So what are the
it
pros
would
and
be-
cons here,
not
though?
even for
Crazy.
like a secondary house, like a little getaway vacation house.
See, I'd rather live in the tiny one
Well,
and then get
yeah,
away to something
like-
fancy.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you could do it. I think you can do it. I'm trying to weigh the pros and cons here, and I'm coming up with a lot of pros, and the only con is the space. But I feel like that's something that we've just been accustomed to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to get used to the
Right.
amount of space we have, but when you talk about the pros of maybe less clutter, there's more energy efficiency.
Oh,
you
I would
probably
find a
won't
way.
lose as many things. You won't have as many things because how many things do we have that we really don't need? Like
so
Marie
many.
Kondo
True.
talks
I'm
about
constantly going through closets
decluttering.
saying, wait, I don't need this or this. It's too much.
Yeah, so I'm having a hard time filling up the cons list here. There's a lot of pros though.
Yeah, I feel like I would find a way to make it messy very quickly. Just clothes everywhere. Because I would take what I've got in my 2-bedroom right now and I would try and fit it all in the tiny house.
Right, and I think that's the whole thing. Like when you change your lifestyle like that to go into a tiny living situation, you have to pare down on everything. Your furniture, half of it goes. Your clothes, half of it goes. And that's
Yeah.
the stuff that's hard for people to part with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if you put half of it in a storage unit, how much are you really saving then?
I will say
Exactly,
this.
right?
I have seen some of those compact living setups, and they say a tiny home anywhere from 100 to 400 square feet. They have some amazing, I guess, hidden cupboards here and things like that where you could put things away, and they have the multiple floors. So they make a lot of use of the small space, make it very
Get creative.
creative.
Yeah, it's
So
more than
that's
just
something
like
to
some of the
consider,
little
too.
sheds that are built, I think, as like tiny houses. These are like real tiny, just houses, full on ones. So
Like hidden compartments, like the stove top, they're more like just flat plates, and it opens up to have
Yeah.
all the storage in there
it's
too.
very,
so
very efficient.
Oh, yeah.
living.
Well, our friend Joanne actually, she chimed back in and she said she'd rather have a mobile home so she could travel.
oh yeah,
Oh,
Same.
put it on wheels.
I like that.
Same.
RV style.
A
I'm all
little RV or
about it.
something.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Set up wherever you want.
The world is yours.
Well,
There we go.
yeah, we appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. And of course, we're going to be back here tomorrow morning starting at 4:30 until 9 a.m. So we will see you then.